How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with CM Punk coming out to a big pop, and he goes over what happened last week when the Shield speared them. They even show the footage where Roman Reigns actually speared them and then they triple powerbomb him. He says he's had an idea why the Shield attacked him, but he just didn't want to believe it. But then he says it looks like he's in denial, and it's probably, Triple H. He probably sent them out because he said something along the lines that Triple H wasn't creative or was, sarcastically said that he was real original. And eventually Stephanie McMahon comes out, defending herself and Triple H, saying that they wouldn't do that, and that Triple H, was part of D-Generation X. He was a rebel, so why would he send the Shield out to attack Punk just because he said a bad word towards Triple H. And then she also brings out Kane to defend them, and Kane says that the Authority has or had nothing to do with it, and that the issue is resolved. And then CM Punk, or actually he asks CM Punk, do you have any other questions? And CM Punk pretty much calls Kane out and says, when do you become the big red ass kisser? Kane gets mad and eventually wants to go down the ring to, I guess, take care of Punk or, attack him, whatever. But Stephanie McMahon holds him back. The Shield's music hits, and they come down the ring. They surround the ring, but Stephanie McMahon tells them to stop and not attack Punk. Well, actually, she doesn't tell them to not attack Punk, but she says to stop and that Punk should be respected and admired. And then she leaves. And when she leaves, Kane grabs the microphone. Well, he already had the microphone, but he says, yes, you should be respected and admired, but also challenged. Which is why at TLC, it is going to be CM Punk versus all three members of the Shield in the handicap match. Following that on commentary, Michael Cole announces that at TLC, there's going to be a one champion crown. So it is indeed to crown one champion rather than somebody who holds both titles. And then he says the fans get to choose on the app what the champion should be called. Should he be called the Undisputed One Champion or something like that? I don't know, some weird name, the One Champion or something like that. That was like the first choice. Second choice was the Undisputed WWE Champion, and third choice was the Undisputed World Champion. So those were the choices. And after that, it was Damien Sandow versus Dolph Ziggler to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E Langston was on commentary during the matchup, and this definitely wasn't as entertaining as their two past matches, and I'm talking about Dolph and Damien like their hardcore matches. But winner ends up being Damien Sandow. Actually, I thought this was actually an unpredictable match where I could see Dolph Ziggler winning it, so they could have Ziggler versus Big E Langston, the bodyguard facing off against the former bodyguard facing off against, I guess, the person he was guarding. Or, I could also see Damien Sandow versus Big E Langston. I could see face versus face in this case, and I could have also seen heel versus face. And what ended up happening is Damien Sandow won the matchup with the You're Welcome to Full Nelson Slam. So at TLC, it is going to be Damien Sandow versus Big E Langston. And after that, it was the Bella Twins and Natalya taking on AJ Lee, Tamina, and Summer Rae in a six diva tag team match. Natalya ends up winning the matchup for her team when she rolls up AJ after AJ was kind of distracted. And then after the match, AJ just kind of got up and started skipping around the ring like nothing happened. Following that, we actually had Wade Barrett's return. Not the return maybe you were expecting. It wasn't Wade Barrett inside the ring or cutting a promo against another superstar or something like that. It was Bad News Barrett, so the Barrett from the JBL and Cole show, who's like on this podium next to the announcer's table. And pretty much he says, the good news is we're live on Raw. Bad news is we're in an arena full of hillbillies that name their city the same as their state just so they can remember it. And then like the Bad News Barrett's logo is on the screen, like flashes on the screen. And then backstage you see Randy with Brad Maddox, and he tells Brad Maddox to go tell the Authority that he demands to be recognized as the face of the company, the best superstar ever, the greatest superstar of all time, and that he's even bigger than the company itself. And then Daniel Bryan comes out for a one-on-one matchup with Eric Rowan. have a pretty long matchup. Highlight of the match was probably when Daniel Bryan went for his suicide dive on the outside on Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan caught him, and then he kind of throws Daniel Bryan onto the barricade, and when he does that, he kind of throws him a bit too hard onto the barricade that somebody's cell phone, I guess, falls off their hand onto the concrete or over the barricade on the other side. And you see the telephone or the cell phone falling right next to Daniel Bryan. But as far as the match and, non-freaking electronic devices falling, Daniel Bryan ends up winning the matchup after rolling up Eric Rowan for the 1-2-3 count. He wins the match. After the match, he gets out of the ring right away, and then lights turn off, and you see Bray Wyatt on the Titantron. He cuts a pretty damn good promo, pretty much trying to convince Daniel Bryan to join them, saying that together they would be pretty much unstoppable. And after that, backstage, once they get back from commercial break, you see Daniel Bryan walking around. He kind of bumps into Kane accidentally, and Kane says to Daniel Bryan, since you and Punk are, friends, I thought, I would put you two in the same situation. So at TLC, it is going to be Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family in a 3-on-1 handicap match, just like CM Punk is taking on the Shield as well in the handicap match. And then Kane kind of mocks Daniel Bryan, saying yes, 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 and that was it. Xavier Woods then teamed up with R-Truth to take on Tons of Funk. They showed what happened on Raw last week, where he came out with the fucking dactyls, and they also showed on SmackDown where Brodus Clay was like, hey man, you're a rookie, you can't mess with us main event players, this and that, or you don't compare, whatever, and then he pushes him. So, anyways, I have the matchup, and Xavier Woods ends up beating Brodus Clay in the matchup with like a roll-up. There's a bunch of roll-ups lately. There's a lot of wins via roll-ups, and this one it wasn't a real smooth roll-up. It was kind of a slow roll-up, but anyways, rolls him up, gets the victory. After the match, Brodus Clay kind of tries to charge at Xavier Woods and attack him, but Xavier Woods and R-Truth get out of the ring right away, and Tensai tries to calm down Brodus Clay, but Brodus pushes Tensai, but in the end, he calms down, and that was it for that. Afterwards, Sin Cara came out for a matchup against Del Rio, and there's two things that popped into my mind like right away when Sin Cara came out. First off, I was like, wait a minute, did Sin Cara get fatter, or is this, like, he looked chubbier, I don't know. I was like, this looks more like the fake Sin Cara they had a while back. And he has a tattoo on his shoulder. I know Sin Cara doesn't have a tattoo, so did Sin Cara get a new tattoo? Or, I was thinking maybe this was Hunico. So if it's Hunico, did Hunico get a new tattoo on his shoulder? But anyways, I also thought, alright, so Sin Cara's back. I think, are we going to see Sin Cara drop to Del Rio again? Are we going to see Del Rio beat up Sin Cara? I was half right, because he did face off against Del Rio, but surprisingly, Sin Cara won the matchup. He beat Del Rio with the Swanton Bomb. As far as if it was Sin Cara or Hunico, apparently it was Hunico, because I saw somebody posted a picture showing that Hunico had the same tattoo, and so yeah, it looks like Hunico, I guess, is under the Sin Cara mask now. I don't know if that's like a permanent thing or temporary thing. Who knows? Anyways, afterwards, they showed like a video of Randy punting John Cena's dad back in 2007, and then Renee Young was interviewing John Cena about the match at TLC. John Cena talks about how people have been arguing for a while, is the World Heavyweight Championship more important, or is the WWE Championship more important? Then he says, come time for TLC, it's going to mean everything to him to be that one champion, to be the undisputed champion. And following that, you had the Shield backstage, and they go over their handicap match, saying that CM Punk can't even beat any one of them one-on-one, so pretty much Punk stands no chance when it's going to be 3-on-1 at TLC. And then right after, Cody and Goldust make their entrance, as well as the Big Show, for a 6-man tag team match against the Shields. Now, a pretty good match, and it was a pretty long match too, and in the end of the match, when it comes to tag team matches, is always like the most exciting part, because you see everybody taking everybody out with either their finishers or some high-flying moves or whatever. And this was pretty much no different. You had also Cody jumping from the ring, from the top turnbuckle in the ring onto Roman Reigns. You had Reigns spearing the Big Show on the outside. In the end, Goldust and I think it was Seth Rollins. I think those were the two legal men. Seth Rollins was down on the ring, and Goldust grabbed Dean Ambrose on the top turnbuckle. He was going to superplex him on top of Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins rolled out of the way, so he just superplexed Dean Ambrose onto the mat, and then right away Seth Rollins rolled up. Goldust, 1, 2, 3, wins the matchup. So wins the matchup in another roll-up. A lot of roll-ups lately, but yeah, I enjoyed the matchup. Shield wins, and that's it for that. After that, you have Renee Young interviewing CM Punk. He sings a little bit, and he pretends like he's all excited about the matchup against the Shield, the handicap match, because Renee Young asked CM Punk what he thinks about it. And then he says, I'm going down. I know I'm going down, but the question is, how many members of the Shield am I taking down with me? And then they reintroduce Bad News Barrett once again, so he can give some more bad news. And pretty much he says, just recently it was Thanksgiving and you people ate turkeys, this and that, and as a result of that, your arteries are clogged, and you're all constipated. And then the Bad News Barrett's logo flashes once again, and after that, you see Kofi Kingston and The Miz backstage, and it looks like they're friends again, I guess. I'm not sure. Kofi extends his hand, The Miz shakes it, and they have a tag team match against Ryback and Curtis Axel. Kofi Kingston towards the end had the advantage, but Curtis Axel kind of distracted Kofi. Kofi kicked Curtis Axel off of the apron, or was he on the apron? Yeah, Curtis Axel was on the apron, Kofi Kingston as well. Kofi Kingston kicked Curtis Axel off the apron, and then Ryback, who's like inside the ring, right next to the ropes, clotheslines Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston lands on the apron. Ryback then grabs Kofi Kingston, rolls him back in the ring, hits the shell shock, covers him, wins the match. And after the match, The Miz picks up Kofi Kingston and then slaps him and gets out of the ring. Mark Henry then took on Fandango, and during the match, in a couple moments, he was dancing, and Summer Rae didn't like that. She got on the apron, yelling at Mark Henry, trying to distract him, and Fandango tried to take advantage of that moment to attack Mark Henry from behind, but Mark Henry saw it coming, so he just elbowed Fandango. At some point, Fandango jumped for like a crossbody, and it looked like Mark Henry was supposed to catch him for the World's Strongest Slam, and he caught him for just a second or half a second, but I think the momentum with that crossbody was a bit too much, so Mark Henry wasn't able to hit the World's Strongest Slam. So he hits him with crossbody, covers him, Mark Henry kicks out. Eventually, Mark Henry hits like 2 clotheslines on Fandango, follows that up with a World's Strongest Slam, covers him, wins, and then he dances a bit more, and that was it. Afterwards was an entertaining tag team match, the Primetime Players versus the Real Americans. Before the match, they showed a replay from SmackDown where Titus O'Neil threw up on, or into JBL's cowboy hat, and then threw up on Michael Cole as well. And Zeb Coulter, or actually, he didn't throw up on Michael Cole, he just put the hat on him. But, yeah, the matchup, you had Antonio Cesaro swing Titus O'Neil, do the giant swing on him. But before actually doing it, when he got in the position for it, Zeb Coulter, both Zeb and Jack Swagger were like, no, don't do it, he's going to throw up. But Antonio Cesaro was just looking at the crowd, and the crowd wanted it, so he did it. And after a while, Zeb Coulter gets on the apron telling him to stop. So anyways, he stops, and then you see Antonio Cesaro ask Zeb, what's wrong? Is it because he's going to puke? And then Titus O'Neil slowly gets up, and it looks like he's about to throw up. So Antonio Cesaro is like backing away a little bit. But then Titus O'Neil tags in Darren Young. Darren Young gets in. He starts picking up momentum. He takes down Antonio Cesaro, takes down Swagger. Everything's looking good for the Primetime Players, but then Darren Young jumps from the top turnbuckle, or the second turnbuckle, whatever, and Antonio Cesaro catches him in midair with the European uppercut, covers him, wins the match, so the Real Americans beat the Primetime Players. So after that, it is time for the contract signing. Triple H comes out with Stephanie McMahon, and then they introduce Randy, followed by John Cena, and Triple H goes over how, you know, the greats held the WWE Championship, including, well, actually, he goes over the greats, and then Stephanie McMahon says, and also Triple H, you know, as one of the greats holding the championship. And then he goes over who held the World Heavyweight Championship, naming the greats, and once again, Stephanie McMahon says, and also the game, Triple H. And anyways, once John Cena and Randy start talking, John Cena goes over how Randy was pretty much handed the championship. It was given to him while he had to earn the World Heavyweight Championship. And Randy talked about how, you know, they don't call him the Apex Predator for nothing, and that he turns dreams into nightmares. And then John Cena makes fun of Randy saying that, and he says the only dream you turned into a nightmare was Triple H, thinking you were going to be, you know, like this great superstar, the best or whatever, but you kind of disappointed him. He had so much potential, but you got lazy. And anyways, just like pretty much every contract signing, eventually it ends, you know, in a fight. At least like 95% of them, or 80, no, actually more like 98 or 99. I don't know, has there ever been a contract signing for like a major championship where there was no fight or nobody being put through a table? I can't recall one that didn't end with something like that. Actually, maybe. I don't know. Who cares? But it ends up in a fight, and, you know, it starts with Randy flipping the table over. John Cena kind of pushes the table away. They fight to the outside. It was kind of back and forth where Randy got some offense in, John Cena got some offense in, and once John Cena put Randy back in the ring, he kind of took his time to take, like, you know, right now when John Cena comes out to the ring, he's got like a shirt in his freaking pocket. He takes it and gives it to a fan in the crowd, and then he goes back in the ring. And that slight, I guess, waste of time allowed Randy to capitalize on that. He hit John Cena with a chair, and then he set up a table, trying to get John Cena through the table. But John Cena grabs Randy, and then he throws him through a table in the corner. And then the table that Randy set up in the middle of the ring, John Cena sets up Randy for the attitude adjustment and puts him through the table with the AA. And then John Cena grabs both championships and poses with them over Orton to end the show. So kind of like last week, but this week John Cena gets the advantage and John Cena reigns supreme, or, you know, stands over Orton. So, what did I think about tonight's show? Highlights. Well, I'll start with the highlights. Definitely the contract signing, and also Bray Wyatt's promo on Daniel Bryan. That was a pretty good promo. You know, it was pretty much Bray Wyatt trying to get Daniel Bryan to join the Wyatt family, but obviously with Daniel Bryan now in a handicap match against Bray Wyatt, I don't think that's going to be happening. And also, as far as just my overall thoughts on the matches, on the show in general, one thing I do like is just the focus on the tag team division. The tag teams right now are, like, really good. You've got so many tag teams, and it is just so much better than if you look back at the tag team division, like, what, 2 years back, or a year and a half back, before Kane and Daniel Bryan were the tag team champions. Tag team division was, you know, like, pretty bad. But I guess once Kane and Daniel Bryan won the tag team championships, things started to, you know, look good for the tag teams. I mean, look at this. You've got Xavier Woods, R-Truth. You've got the Real Americans, of course, the Primetime Players, potentially Big E Langston and Mark Henry. I'm not sure if they're going to, you know, maybe challenge for the tag team titles or be involved in more tag teams tonight. Obviously, we didn't see them as a tag team, but who knows. And, of course, you've got the tag champs, Cody and Goldust. You've got the Shield in there, the Wyatt. It is just, the tag team division is really good right now. Now, as far as, like, my favorite match probably of the show tonight, I would have to go with the 6-man tag team match, the Shield versus Big Show and Cody and Goldust. But as far as the rest of the matches on tonight's show, there wasn't really a match that I really enjoyed. So that was, like the match for me, like the match of the night. And also, seeing as how Daniel Bryan is taking on, you know, the Wyatts in a handicap match, and CM Punk is taking on the Shield in a handicap match, I'm wondering if at this year's TLC pay-per-view, is there going to be a tables match, a chairs match, and a a ladder match? Or is it just going to be the TLC match for the World and WWE Championship? So we'll see about that. And yeah, as far as a rating for tonight's show, I would probably give it like a 6 on 10 maybe. So that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned tomorrow. Stay tuned for some gameplay, some DLC gameplay for 2K14. Both online gameplay and offline gameplay. I'll be posting up some matches with the new DLC characters like Big E Langston and Fandango. So if you want to see some gameplay of that, make sure to stay tuned. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe. With that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.